Aylin Sky Astro, a podcast that inspires the present-day visionary to live their best life. Welcome back to my channel, friends. We are going to be diving into the horoscope for all my Sagittarius Sun and Rising friends for the month of March of 2023. What is the pulse of this month for many of you? That is focus on family and home life. But first, before we begin, I want to just quickly introduce myself. My name is Aylin Sky. I'm an astrologer and numerologist. I focus on forecasts here on my channel. If you are here for the first time with me, welcome. I would love for you to join our family here. Just ring the bell, subscribe, make sure that you are ringing that bell because then you get notified every time I put out a new video. And let me know how this month is unfolding for you. You can always leave a comment below. Now let's get back to the Sagittarius energy and the pulse for the month of March of 2023. We're going to pop up the chart. You see here ascendant on the rising sign here as Sagittarius. So if you know that you're a Sagittarius rising, this is going to correspond a little bit more accurately with your own chart. But of course, you're always more than welcome to listen to your sun sign as well. So what is unfolding for the month of March? Well, the energy starts February 20th, actually, because we're going to have a new moon in Pisces that is unfolding. It is going to be at 1 degree. This is illuminating a new sense of faith, a renewal in faith when it comes to your comfort zones, when it comes to focus on family and your home life in general. So there is an illumination of that. That is definitely unfolding here. And in general, just your comfort zones, things that have to do with your family or family dynamics. And these can sometimes also just talk to you just personally working through you having some kind of comfort zone conversation with yourself as well. Now, at the time of this new moon, we are also taking a look at a particular square that's happening here, and that is going to happen between Mercury in your 3rd house and Uranus in your 6th house. So it's a busy time for many of you. Your mind is going to be on a lot of busy things, unexpected things that are coming up that you have to deal with. Your day-to-day might actually continue to have small changes throughout the month of March of 2023. And this has a lot to do with the fact that Uranus is getting involved here, right? Uranus is disrupting. It is a planet that's often signifying us reaching a new level or some kind of an upgrade, and it comes through in unexpected ways. And of course, that trine or that square to Mercury in your 3rd house is opening up the conversation, really just making you busy in the day-to-day even more than what you already maybe were. And at the same time, there is a very interesting aspect here that I believe for many of you that is unfolding. And that is also at the time of the new moon, which is going to be the conversation that you're going to carry into the entire month of March of 2023 is Mercury is going to come into a trine with Mars. And that is going to be with relationships. Mars has been in Gemini in your 7th house since August of 2022. That's been 7 months, and we're finishing up this transit now from March 1st until the 19th. Mars is going to remain in Gemini, and it's going to complete very important agreements. And so what I'm seeing is that while you are working on your comfort zones, while you're working on communication that's coming through in a way where you have to think a little bit more about some of the communication that's going back and forth, the 7th house here is a busy time with Mars in Gemini when it comes to contracts, when it comes to agreements, or in general bonds to other people. But I do believe that for many of you, and what it looks like is that there is sort of an unexpected outcome that is going to occur in the month of March of 2023, where a particular agreement that you had or a previous standing agreement that you had that really impacted actually your finances at some level, or even the way in which you were maybe going about stuff that you feel really comfortable with, or stuff that you actually also love, or something that used to give you a lot of joy or that you absolutely loved doing, that you felt like was giving you fulfillment, there is some kind of contractual agreement or some kind of bond to another person that has been holding up sort of the next step. That is what it looks like. When I take a look at this chart, I feel like there's been some kind of holding up because Mars has also been retrograding here. The second thing that I am seeing is that many of you are going to work out relationship dynamics here where maybe previously there have been too many compromises or too many ways in which you have been compromising, and that leads me to pretty much the overall big energy, I believe, in the immediate, future for the month of March of 2023 is going to be Mars finishing up its transit here in your seventh house. Mars in the seventh house can oftentimes bring up relationship dynamics that we have to deal with, and it could cut out relationships out of our life because Mars does cut things out. But it could also bring up for us to change our perspective or to see something that we had not seen before when it comes to our efforts in our relationships and our roles in our relationships, and are our needs being equally met with the effort that we are putting out, because Mars has to do with effort. And so for many of you, this is a time of a big influence when it comes to important relationship dynamics. And what I wrote here for you guys is airing grievances and then ultimately also receiving good news. And the reason why I put that on there is because there is a very important last communication that Mars is going to be making, and that has to do with the Sun Mars square at 26 degrees, which is going to be unfolding March 15th through the 17th. Let's talk about that. The Sun is going to be in your home life, family life, and in your comfort zone life or aspect of your chart. And this is where the Sun is going to form a square to Mars to your one-on-one relationships. The nature of the seventh house can be a house where you're dealing with people one-on-one. And so this is going to be a topic of maybe family dynamics or relationship dynamics, a bond that you have to other people that either tie you to a bond that's written or not written. Sometimes we have agreements to people that is just automatic, based on the currency of that relationship, and it kind of bonds us, or we have agreements in the way in which we're showing up for or to each other. And so this is a big time of completing and overcoming. And so there's an upswing in energy for you guys when it comes to these topics I just mentioned. And it, at some level, going to feel like a test. It feels like a test. It feels like there's some unexpected stuff that's coming up that has to do with some kind of setbacks that you are still trying to overcome, or situations that remind you of similar setbacks, and you're trying to just sort of be done with this type of energy, or be done with this type of energy in your life where you're trying to overcome it. You're trying to let this go. You're trying to cut this out. And, it comes with a good amount of challenge. And the challenge can be that you're trying to get your point across. You're trying to negotiate something, or you're trying to, just clear the air. And there's some grievances here that you may have been holding on to that you now finally get the opportunity to air out and to really deal with this. And it has to do with you basically asking yourself what it is that you're willing to fight, because there's an opportunity that comes up here. That's what I'm seeing for many of you. It looks like that you can really step into some new comfort levels and zones when it comes to what you feel most comfortable with family members, relationships, business relationships, contracts. Standing up for yourself means, though, may have to just speak up here and say what's on your mind and finally clear the air, because that tension has been holding in your seventh house for 7 months. That's a long time, And I believe also that for many of you, this is going to be something that works ultimately in your favor. The way that I'm looking at this chart and the way that this moon is going to be moving throughout the entire month. I do believe that by the time that this moon cycle comes to an end, there is a good news type of, energy behind this. And ultimately, I think that one of the things that you're left with is understanding more about where you maybe let tension build up in relationship dynamics, where you over compromise. And then as a result, it just kind of puts you into a place where these grievances kind of build up and you have to clear the air maybe sooner so that things don't come to the point that they come to. That could be one aspect that you're looking at. The other thing that I ultimately see that this month really has in store for many of you is to learn really about yourself, those nuances, those inner knowingness that comes up in your relationship dynamics where you realize like you got to carry sort of that, you know, moment forward where you're clearing the air or letting, tension not build up because you have that inner knowingness. You know that there's something that you have to kind of deal with. Otherwise, it brings this setback into your life or it impacts you in a way where it becomes more difficult to deal with it down, the road. And I think that you're learning how to sort of accept this more about yourself, how to bring this clarity more in, how to empower yourself ultimately, and making room for that kind of communication and how to go about this. I believe that is what this month truly has in store for many of you, that you can finally sort of move on from a time in your life that kind of felt like, it was giving you like a difficulty, sort of an uncertainty, it was sort of like a roller coaster when it came to understanding how to really, meet your needs when it comes to bonding with other people, how they show up for you, how you show up for them. And then ultimately, for a lot of you, this has to do with some kind of contractual agreement, whether it's spoken or not. There is some kind of good news that at the end is going to come up here. And that's what I'm seeing for many of you, Sagittarius, Sun, and Rising. But I would love to hear from you. Let me know how things are unfolding. I want to hear from you. Leave me a comment below. And again, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, subscribe, like, comment, ring the bell so that you get notified. And I am going to see you guys back here in the next horoscope. Bye.